Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at issue 21 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, playing our first game on our new battle mat and learning some more rules for our Necron and Space Marine commanders. Hello, I'm Will, this is Mike, we're the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And in this video we're bringing you issue 21 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. With this issue we got the first part of a set of 10 Skitarii Rangers to begin the Adeptus Mechanicus part of the Imperium collection, and also a new battle mat that was supposed to come with issue 18 but in fact it came with this issue instead. We won't see the completed models in this issue because we need to wait for the rest of the set in the following issue, but if you want to see the first game on the new mat then you can use a timecode in the description or use the chapter bars to go ahead. We'll have a look inside the issue first. First of all, we've got the background for the Skitarii Rangers. These are some of the cyborg soldiers that make up the armed forces of Adeptus Mechanicus, an organisation within the Imperium that we'll learn about in a few pages' time. Although originally human, they've been heavily augmented with bionic implants and upgrades. Their squad leaders are called Alphas, and they also have a range of interesting weaponry and equipment. Over the page we've got their battle record. A squad of Skitarii is called a maniple, and you can name one of these. You can also name the cohort and macroclade that they come from, the larger formations. You can give a name to the Alpha and the bearer of the squad's transuranic arquebus. That's a huge sniper type weapon, and even keep a record of the kills with that weapon. Then we have a name generator for the Adeptus Mechanicus, so you can generate names for your Adeptus Mechanicus models. Their names tend to consist of technological elements and a combination of arcane symbols and things like that. And over the page you can generate a title for your Tech Priest, which we'll be getting in a few issues' time, and also give some epithets to your squads. Then we have the background on the Adeptus Mechanicus itself. This is a branch of the Imperium concerned with its technology, formed around an ancient priesthood that venerates the machine god, a divine being said to dwell within all mechanical creations. And as such their beliefs are a mix of technological expertise and religious creed. And over the page we have information on the planet Mars, which is the homeworld of the Adeptus Mechanicus, and the centre of the Cult Mechanicus, which venerates the divine trinity of the machine god, the Omnissiah, and the motive force. And it teaches that the Emperor of Mankind is the Omnissiah, and thus a divine being worthy of worship. And there's also another mention of Skitarii that form the bulk of the armed forces of the Adeptus Mechanicus. We also have a short story about the Adeptus Mechanicus fighting against the Necrons from the Novok dynasty. And then we're on to the build guide for the Skitarii Rangers. So in this issue we've got the build guide for all 10 of the Skitarii Rangers that we'll be getting parts for in this issue and the next. So even though you won't be able to do very much now, this is the complete build guide, and in the following issue we'll have a painting guide for them. These are a bit different to some of the models we've had so far in that they tend to come in discrete components such as head, body, legs, arms and so on, which you can mostly mix and match between the different models, although there are matching pairs of bodies and legs. You will need glue to put these together because they have no assembly pegs. You also might want to be careful cutting the parts off the sprue because there are a few aerials and other flimsy bits that you want to be careful not to snap while removing them. It also might be a good idea not to glue them to their bases straight away, because if you don't do that it's easier to paint the underside of their cloaks, which would be difficult to access if they are glued to their bases. There's also a 60mm oval base to build a ranger with a transuranic arquebus, so that's why that's there. And it also tells you to build one of each of these special weapons, as well as an alpha and a ranger with enhanced data tether piece of equipment. It is worth noting that you do get quite a few extra components here. This is because this kit actually builds different types of Skitarii, not just the rangers. It just suggests you keep these parts rather than throwing them away, because they might be useful later on. And here's the finished squad. As I said, you won't be able to build all of these yet, but after the next issue you'll be able to build and paint all 10. Now also with this issue we've got a fold-out insert. On this side we have some background on the Pariah Nexus, which is the larger region of space in which the Ramasus system is situated that we're fighting over. The Imperium discovered worlds in this system were suffering a strange kind of malaise. The inhabitants would just sort of slow down and stop, almost as if their souls had been removed from their bodies. They came to realise this had something to do with the strange pylon structures that dotted the worlds around this sector, and soon discovered that these were the work of the Necrons. On the left we have a bit about the Necron forces in the Pariah Nexus, led by Zarek the Silent King himself, whose intention was to create a sort of super weapon, where the pylons in fact cut off the connection of the material plane to the warp in an attempt to rid the galaxy of chaos entirely, with the added bonus of also getting rid of all the other living creatures that were infesting his domain. And as it says, the Imperium came to refer to these worlds as stilled worlds, where the inhabitants simply seem to stop And we also have an outline of some of the Imperial forces fighting in the Pariah Nexus, the Space Marines, the Adeptus Sororitas, or the Sisters of Battle, and the forces of the Adeptus Mechanicus, all of which were to some extent resistant to the effects of the stilling, due to their enhanced constitutions, strength of their faith, and their bionic implantations, so it's thought. And on the other side, we have a bit about the Indomitus Crusade. This was the initiative launched by the returned Primarch Rabute Guilliman, who upon his reawakening found the Imperium to be in chaos and immediately set about organising some powerful crusade fleets that were sent out to try and hold back the tides of darkness. You can see the progress of 3 of the crusade fleets here, Primus, Secundus and Tertius. Fleet Primus, headed by the Primarch himself, was sent in the direction of the Pariah Nexus. And there's a larger expanded map of the Pariah Nexus itself, showing where some of the key systems are. But that's it for the content of this issue. Now, as usual, we will get into our game and learn some new rules.
So as usual, we have new rules to learn before we can get into our game, and there's a fair few here. First up is a load of data sheets. So we have the ones here for the Primaris Lieutenant and the Assault Intercessor squad, and these are pretty much directly copied from the Codex, and this is how they would be laid out in that. So there's a fair few abilities and even some stats like LD here that you won't know what they do yet. All of that will be explained in the future. But the things that are going to be relevant for this game is, first up here, the Lieutenant's Neo-Volkite pistol. If you roll a 6 to wound, it also causes a mortal wound in addition to any damage. It also says it has a 24-inch range. That is incorrect, it should only have a 15-inch range as has been previously. Here we have Tactical Precision, which has a friendly chapter core unit. You can see these are in bold, so these are keywords. And has a friendly chapter core unit within 6 inches of the lieutenant to reroll wound rolls of 1 when they make attacks. So you can see here with the fact that they're different keywords. Effectively, Ultramarines is the chapter here, so he allows friendly Ultramarines. I'm not sure why they didn't just replace chapter with Ultramarines, but you could have lieutenants of different chapters if you had a mixed chapter force and they could only support their own chapter. And here with the Assault Intercessors, nothing's different. It says the soldier can have a hand flamer humorously, but I don't think you get that option with the magazine. You can see here they have the core unit, and they're an Ultramarines unit, so they can benefit from the Lieutenant's Tactical Precision. The tutorials here, these Assault Intercessors are shooting, one of them got a wound roll of 1, so he gets to re-roll it. And we have the data sheets for the Necrons, and again there's quite a few things here. Pretty much all of this is relevant to the Overlord, so you see he has an item called the Resurrection Orb. This you can use once per battle in your command phase, so that's a new phase we learn that comes before the movement phase. You can use the Resurrection Orb, and what you do is you pick a friendly Szarekhan unit within 6 inches of him that is not at its starting strength, and then you roll for reanimation protocol, so you roll as many dice as would be appropriate for how many models it's lost. He has Relentless March, so friendly Szarekhan core units within 6 inches of him gain +1 to their move characteristic each time they make a normal move or advance. He also has a 4+ invulnerable save, which he's been missing until this point. And he has another ability called My Will Be Done, which you use in the command phase, and you can pick one friendly Szarekhan core unit within 9 inches of him, and then until the start of your next command phase, they add +1 to each of their hit rolls when making attacks, and that applies to ranged attacks and melee attacks as well. And here Necron Warriors are pretty much going to stay the same. You see they have the core keyword and they're a Szarekhan unit, so they benefit from My Will Be Done and Relentless March. And they also have a new ability called their Number is Legion, which allows them to reroll reanimation protocol rolls of 1, so they're even more likely to stand up now. And again, over on the next page, you can see an example of the Resurrection Orb being used. This unit of 2 Necron Warriors gets quite a few members back. And an example of how My Will Be Done is used, where the Necrons get to hit on 2s instead of 3s. Now we can finally get into our mission. The Necrons have set their sights on the fortress moon of Tsiphos and the Ramasus system, which is obviously defended by the Imperium. So the Overlord and some Necron warriors have deployed to try and take hold of it, so the Necron constructs can eventually dismantle it, and obviously the Space Marines are going to try and stop them from doing that. This is the opposite side of our new battle map, which doesn't have any terrain on it. And we have a Primaris Lieutenant and 5 Assault Intercessors facing off against the Overlord and the 10 Necron warriors, and each side has a 3-inch deployment zone from a long edge. And then here it just goes over data sheets. This is the sort of thing I explained before, and it points out some of the things like power and battlefield role that aren't relevant for the moment and we'll learn more about later. It goes through a playthrough example. Weirdly, it shows the psychic phase coming before the move phase. This is also wrong. There's no psychics in this battle, so it doesn't matter. But normally it goes command, move, psychic, shoot, charge, then fight. And we just keep going until one side doesn't have any models left. So we'll set up the board and get straight into it. Here we have our shiny new board, but we have the Space Marines down here, the 5 Assault Intercessors. I went for the Sergeant with the heavy bolt pistol because that was the one shown in the playthrough. We've got the Lieutenant over on the right. Up at the top you can see the Necrons, with the warriors with the Gauss Reapers in front, and the Overlord tucked in behind. And the Necrons get to go first, so we'll head straight into the Necron turn.
Well, first up we have the command phase, which is the new phase we've learnt about this issue, in which I can use the Overlord's My Will Be Done ability. The Necron warriors are a Szarekhan core unit within 9 inches, so I'll use it on them.
So the Necron warriors will get +1 to hit for their attack rolls until the next Necron command phase.
And after the command phase comes the movement phase, and we've just moved everybody up 6 inches because they get their +1 movement from the Overlord's Relentless March aura.
That doesn't apply to himself because he's not a core unit.
No, but he has a 6-inch move anyway, and he's moved behind them so as to let his minions die first. And in the shooting phase, everybody's going to fire everything at the Assault Intercessors because the Lieutenant is not the closest target, and all of the models are within 12-inch range, so we'll get the Gauss Reapers firing and the Gauss Flayers firing twice. So shooting with the Gauss Reapers first, and we're hitting on 2s because we get +1 to hit thanks to My Will Be Done. So we've got 2 misses, and wounding on 3s because strength 5. That's 6.
6 5+ armour saves. Oh, I made 2, so there's only 2 Assault Intercessors dead so far.
Before we remove anything, I might as well roll the Gauss Flayers. They also have 10 shots for being within half range, hitting on 2s. 6 1s.
Wow.
Only 4 hits. These wound on 4s. Getting 2.
2 4+ armor saves. Oh, failed both, so it's 3 dead Assault Intercessors. Well, I'll just take away these 3 on the end.
But then that'll be the end of the Necron turn because I'm not going to charge.
Okay, on to the Space Marine turn. Well, my remaining Marines are all going to move up there 6 inches, and then we're going to shoot at the Necron warriors. Chap on the end here will throw a frag grenade, and then the Sergeant will just fire his bolt pistol. I'll do them first. So I'll do the frag grenade. It has D6 shots. Oh, 6. It would have been a minimum of 3 because it's a unit with more than 5 models. 6 shots hitting on 3s, getting 3 hits. Wounding on 5s, because only strength 3, but re-rolling 1s because of the Lieutenant's tactical precision. I only got 1 wound.
No AP, so a 4+ save, which I've made.
And the Sergeant's bolt pistol hits on a 3, it hits. It wounds on a 4, re-rolling 1s. It does not wound. And I'll roll the Lieutenant's Neo-Volkite pistol now as well. He has 2 shots hitting on 2s, they both hit. And these wound on 3s, he does not get to reroll 1s because he's not a core unit, and if I roll a 6 he does a mortal wound in addition. So no 6s, but 2 normal wounds.
Again with no AP, so 4+ saves. Oh, failed both. So 2 dead Necrons, the 2 damage doesn't matter.
Yep.
I'll take away 2 Flayers at the back initially, and then we get to do our reanimation protocols. So on 5s they'll stand back up, but I can reroll 1s because of their ability. I've rolled 1 for 6 and no 1s.
So 1 warrior gets back up.
No, I'll just put it right back where it was, I suppose. There's no reason to do anything else.
Oh, and then in the charge phase, both of my units will declare a charge at just the warriors. So the Assault Intercessors get a 7, that's enough to get them in easily, and the Lieutenant a 3. That probably isn't enough actually. Yeah, 3 is not enough, he's just over 4 inches away, so only the Assault Intercessors managed to make it into combat. 7 attacks from the Assault Intercessors, hitting on 3s. Ooh, is that 1 hit? Wow. And he wounds on a 4, getting to reroll 1s because the Lieutenant's within 6 inches. And I rolled a 6, so it's a wound.
With a 5+ save. No, and I'll just reroll the 5+ reanimation straight away. Oh, I rolled a 1, which I can reroll because of being warriors. Oh, into a success. So what I would do, I suppose, is I would have taken him away and then put him straight back again. And then the Necron warriors get to go. They've just piled in, bringing everybody within an inch or within half an inch of a friend who's within half an inch. 9 of them left, so 9 attacks, hitting on 2s because they still got My Will Be Done active on them. So those 2s are hits rather than misses, so 9 hits. Wounding on 4s. A bit more on the box. That was a failure, so only 3 wounds.
3+ saves. Failed 1, so the regular Assault Intercessor will take a wound. And that'll be it for the Space Marine turn, back on to the Necron turn.
So in my command phase, I will use My Will Be Done on the warriors again, just because they're the only viable target, but I'm going to fall them back in the movement phase, rather than keep them in melee, because they're not very good at that. And the Overlord himself has moved up to be an inch away from the Assault Intercessors. I'm not going to use his Resurrectional this turn, because there's only 1 warrior to bring back, and I can only get to use it once per game. So a 5+ to bring 1 warrior back is not really worth it, probably. No shooting in the shooting phase, because the warriors fell back, and then the Overlord will declare a charge on the Assault Intercessors. He needs to roll a 2, which he did. He will just engage them like that, and then he can attack them. He has 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, because his weapon gives him -1 to hit. So 2 misses. Wounding on 2s, strength 10, 2 wounds, with AP -4 and 3 damage each.
So the Assault Intercessors are both dead. Would you like to consolidate?
No.
Oh, that's it for the Necron turn then, on to the Space Marine turn. Well, Lieutenant's just going to move so he's an inch away, and then I think he is going to throw a crack grenade at the Overlord. Scratch that, I'm going to use the Neo-Volkite pistol because there's higher damage potential. 2 shots hitting on 2s. Oh, getting 1. And wounding on 4s. Oh, and it's a 6, so it does a mortal wound, and then if he fails to save, it will take 2 damage as well.
It's 3 plus save, which he made, so he takes 1 mortal wound. So the Overlord is down to 4.
Yeah, and then in the charge phase, the Lieutenant will charge the Overlord. Oh, an 11, so he's definitely in. So the Lieutenant's just going to move to the side so that if I manage to kill the Overlord, he can consolidate into the warriors and stop them shooting him next turn. The Lieutenant gets to go first because he charged. 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, getting 2. Wounding on 4s, getting 1.
The Overlord does get his 4 plus invulnerable save.
At last.
Which he failed, so he does take 2 damage. He's down to 2, but then he gets to hit back. He has 4 attacks hitting on 3s. He also missed twice. Wounds on 2s though. So both wound.
2 4 plus invulnerable saves. Need to make one of these. Oh, I made one. Lieutenant's down to 2 wounds. That's it for the Space Marine turn. On to the Necron turn.
So in my command phase, the Necron Overlord goes back up to 3 wounds thanks to Living Metal. I'll use my will be done on the warriors again. Again, I won't use the Resurrection Orb, and then he's going to fall back. So he's going to fall back to there, and then he can command his warriors to protect him. So they'll move across, and then in the shooting phase, they will shoot at the Lieutenant. 10 shots with Gauss Reapers hitting on 2s. We've got 1 miss, so that's 9. Wounding on 3s, that's 5 wounds.
5 4 plus armour saves, because he actually gets +1 with his shield. Whoa, failed 1, so he's down to 1 wound.
We've got 8 shots with Gauss Flares, hitting on 2s as well. They all hit. And wounding on 4s. 3.
3 plus saves, because of the +1 from the Storm Shield. Well, made them all, so he's still alive.
Well, didn't finish him off with shooting, so the Necron Warriors will charge him and try and bludgeon him to death, I think. They need to roll a 2, they got a 5. They'll charge like that, then they'll pile in 9 attacks, once again hitting on 2s. 6 hits, wounding on 4s. 3 wounds.
3 2 plus saves because of the Storm Shield. Failed one, so he's dead. At last.
That's what got it.
The Lieutenant goes down, and that's clearly a Necron victory. So we'll do a best of 3 as usual, because these games are still fairly small, so we'll come back when we reset. So we've reset, and I've altered my deployment a little bit. I've actually deployed up against the board edge, because here I'm actually just over 18 inches away from the back rank of Necron warriors, which will reduce the amount of shooting that comes my way, in the first turn at least. But again, the Necrons get to go first, so straight into the Necron turn.
So in the command phase I used my will be done on the Necron warriors, obviously. And then in the movement phase they've moved up 6, but as we said, the back rank are not within 12 inches, so they will only get to shoot once in the shooting phase. We've got 10 shots from the Reapers, hitting on 2s, getting 9. Wounding on 3s, 8.
8 5 plus saves. Wow, failed 2. It's only 1 dead so far.
And then only 5 shots from the Gauss Flares, hitting on 2s. Oh, they missed 3 times. Wounding on 4s. Nothing.
So only 1 Assault Intercessor gets killed this time, so I'll take the guy off the end. And that'll be it for the Necron turn, on to the Space Marine turn. So we're just going to move up 6 inches as normal, and I'll start with the Assault Intercessors. 1 guy will throw a frag grenade, and then the other 3 will fire their bolt pistols. Starting with the frag grenade, d6 shots. Oh, 6 again. Hitting on 3s. Getting 3 again. Wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s. Oh, reroll that 1. Oh, 3 wounds.
3 4 plus saves. Oh, I made them all.
There we go then. 3 bolt pistol shots hitting on 3s. They all hit. Wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s. Getting 2.
2 5 plus saves. Made 1, failed 1. Oh, I'll roll the dead one's reanimation immediately. Oh, I succeeded with a 6.
That was a whole lot of nothing from my shooting, and then the Lieutenant's going to fire his Neo-Volkite pistol at them as well. 2 shots hitting on 2s, getting a hit. Wounds on a 3, it doesn't. No rerolling 1s because he's not a core unit. So on to the charge phase. Both my units will charge the Necron warriors only. Start with the Assault Intercessors first and see how they go. Only charging the warriors. They roll a 5, which I think is just enough to get them in because they're within 6. And I'll do the Lieutenant into the warriors only as well. You got an 8. So we're going to finish our charge like that. So the 2 Assault Intercessors here are still in coherency. Just made a gap for the Lieutenant to get in. And I'm going to start with the Assault Intercessors. So we're going to pile in. So they will attack the warriors. 13 attacks hitting on 3s. Getting 9 hits. Wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s. Reroll the 2 ones, getting another wound, so that's 5 wounds.
5 plus armor saves. Made 1, so 4 die. I'll take away the less effective guns from the back, and then I'll do my reanimation. 4 dead, needing 5, so rerolling 1s. Oh, get 3 back. So 3 come back, I'll just put them at the back because it doesn't matter that much.
The lieutenant gets to strike, so he'll pile in a bit as well. 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 3. Wounding on 3s, getting 2, so it's just 2 dead Necrons.
I might as well roll their reanimation. 5s, made 1. So 1 more dies, take that one off the middle. And then the warriors don't need to pile in at all. They'll put all their attacks on the assault intercessors. 8 attacks hitting on 2s, 3 misses, and wounding on 4s. Nothing.
Blimey. Yeah, so there's an awful lot of attacks amounting to 2 dead Necrons. It's more than I got in the last game, so I'll take that as a win as we head into the second Necron turn.
In my command phase, my will be done will go on the warriors. Won't use the resurrection orb because there's still only 2 dead, and the overlord will move over to this side in preparation to charge. I'm not going to fall back with the warriors because they are currently holding the lieutenant up. There's no shooting, so straight to the charge phase for the overlord. He'll just charge the assault intercessors, and he rolled enough. He'll just come in on the end like that, and then he gets to fight first because he charged. 4 attacks hitting on 3s. They all hit this time. Killing on 2s, basically. Yeah, they're all dead.
They all die, and so does the sergeant. Then the lieutenant gets to try and avenge some of his companions and attacks the warriors. 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 2. Wounding on 3s, getting 2.
Just roll the reanimation straight away. Failed both, but I can reroll that 1. It still failed. Yeah, I'll take away these 2.
Well, that's the end of the Necron turn, and we'll go straight to the Space Marine turn. Lieutenant's going to stay in combat, and he'll fire his Neo-Volkite pistol at the warriors first.
Yes, we did actually forget to let the warriors attack back in this turn. It's unlikely they would have actually done anything with 6 attacks against a 2+ save, but still, just an acknowledgement that we did make a mistake.
2 shots hitting on 2s, 2 hits, wounding on 3s, 1 wound.
With a 4+ save, made it.
Then in the fight phase, the warriors get to go first.
They're just piling in to make sure they can all get in range. 6 attacks hitting on 2s, because of my will be done. They all hit. Wounding on 4s. Nothing again.
So the lieutenant's going to strike back against them. 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 3. Wounding on 3s, yep. 3 wounds, 3 dead.
Do the reanimation immediately because it doesn't matter where they come back. 2 come back. Well, we'll take away the last House Flayer, I suppose.
Back round to the Necron turn.
So in the command phase this time, I will use the Resurrection Orb on the Necron Warriors. They're a core unit within 6 of the Overlord, and so I roll reanimation protocols for every model that they have lost so far in the game. 5 wounds worth, needing 5 pluses. I get 4 back. Excellent. Well, they'll just come back around the Lieutenant. He evidently didn't kill them dead enough. And then they'll get my will be done on them also in the command phase, and then we'll be on to the movement. The Warriors will just stay in melee, and the Overlord's going to come around the back, and then he will attempt to charge the Lieutenant. Don't really need to roll because any number is enough.
He's in.
And we'll trap him in like that, and the Overlord gets to strike first. 4 attacks on 3s, 2 hits, wounding on 2s, just 1.
Well, 4+ invulnerable save, get it in the box. Failed, so Lieutenant's down to 2 wounds. The Lieutenant gets to go next. He's going to fight the Overlord because it's by far the most dangerous target. 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 3, wounding on 4s, getting 3.
I have to make at least 1 invulnerable save, 4+. Oh, we made all of them. And then all the warriors get to attack, so they don't need to pile in. We're back up to 9, so 9 attacks hitting on 2s. 7 hits, wounding on 4s. 5.
5 2+ saves, failed 1, so he's still alive. Well, that was the Necron turn, so it's now the Space Marine turn, where the Lieutenant's going to fire his Neo-Volkite pistol at the Overlord. 2 shots hitting on 2s, 1 hit, wounds on a 4, so it doesn't wound. Then the Necrons get to fight first.
I'll pick the Overlord. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, still only 2 hits. Wounding on 2s, they both wound.
2 4+ invulnerable saves, failed both, so he's dead. And that's another very clear Necron victory. I think we'll stop there. They've won the best of 3. I think if the Space Marines get to go first, it's probably not going to make that much difference. We'll just recap these games for you now. So that was the game for issue 21 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. How did you think that went?
Well, obviously that went quite well for me. I think it was probably in my favour anyway, because it's another one of those games where you're charging across the board into heavy firepower, which was even better than it has been previously, because of the My Will Be Done hitting on 2s means that you don't miss many shots, and these guns are quite powerful. My warriors didn't actually do that much damage, shooting or melee. What they were extremely good at was getting back up again. And the Resurrection Orb I rolled 4 out of 5 successes as well, which is obviously pretty good good.
I suppose realistically that would probably get you 2 or 3 warriors back. 4 out of 5 is really good. And warriors, because they're rerolling ones, are particularly good at getting back up again. And I think we said before that 1 wound models are great with reanimation protocols. Yeah, and I think the Assault Intercessors are pretty lucky to not get shot to bits in the second game, I think. But I think what's going to happen is they're going to take probably 1 or 2 casualties, and then in melee they probably don't have enough attacks to drop a significant number of warriors. And they would probably end up with like 1 or 2 warriors left, and then you get the Resurrection Orb. But the Overlord's still an absolute beast in melee. I think the Captain and the Overlord were on par, but that was without the Overlord's invulnerable save, I think. And it was basically whoever charged would win. And the Lieutenant's basically a slightly worse version of the Captain because he has 1 less attack. And his Storm Shield doesn't help him, and he has no trouble at all with Assault Intercessors.
He does only have 4 attacks, and he did quite a number of rounds of combat this game where he only hit twice out of 4. But then he can do things like hit all 4 times and kill 4 Assault Intercessors without breaking a sweat. But this game actually just does go to show where his other strengths lie, being able to improve the forces around him. My Will Be Done is a very good ability. You only get to use it on 1 unit per turn. When you only have 1 unit, that doesn't really matter.
It's not exactly a difficult choice.
And Warriors aren't the strongest core unit the Necrons get either. They're the base level, so you can imagine what that ability does for a more powerful core unit. Relentless March is handy, just makes everything a bit faster.
I mean, it lets them keep up with the characters at least.
Yeah, an extra inch doesn't sound like much, but sometimes it can make the difference. It's not an exciting ability, but it's useful to have. And unlike My Will Be Done, that applies to everything nearby, everything within 6 inches of him. So
it's worth noting that when it says within 6 inches or within 9 inches, only 1 model from the unit needs to be within 9. It doesn't need to be wholly within 6 inches. So you can actually affect quite a lot of stuff, actually.
Yeah, and exactly. With these aura abilities, there's no limit to the number of things that benefit from it. So I suppose we're now seeing more of the utility of characters rather than just being individually powerful fighters.
Because you might look at a character and go, well, individually he's reasonably good, or I could take more models. So you take characters for their aura abilities. And I think also the Lieutenant, being able to reroll 1s through is actually really handy, but you sort of need to have more units around him than just 5 guys. The Lieutenant and the Captain are kind of like force multipliers, because the Captain gets a similar one where it lets you reroll 1s to hit. So you combine a Captain and a Lieutenant, and you've got everything rerolling 1s to hit and wound, and it makes all your army a bit more efficient. And basically everything in the Space Marine army that isn't a tank or a character is a core unit as well.
The Necrons have slightly less of that, but they have some other different abilities like My Will Be Done and some other things. The Royal Warden also has a handy ability that we'll learn about, which is not an aura ability, but it's another thing that improves people around him. The Technomancer brings models back, which we'll learn about as well.
Yeah, and the command phase as well. It's not exactly an exciting phase, but there are more things that happen in it. It's basically just a start of the turn phase. Before anything else happens, this happens.
And I think the Necrons, over the course of the magazine, will have a lot more to do in the command phase than Space Marines. Obviously, we've got Living Metal, which a lot of things have. My Will Be Done. They have quite a few things that are activated in the command phase. Space Marines, I don't think that have that much to do in the command phase, but they're not the only Imperial forces we get with this magazine, so they might get something.
And I do like that they're just giving us the full data sheets now rather than continuing to replace them over time. I'd rather they just do the full things and be like, well, we'll just explain these bits later. See, there's only one to refer to. Because I think with Mortal Realms, you ended up with several copies of data sheets, some of which were out of date as the magazine went on. And they're all laid out in the same way that it would be in the codex.
Yeah, and if it feels like a lot, if you've just got this magazine, then don't worry, all that stuff will be explained.
And again, not sure why they just said the psychic phase comes after the command phase. It does come after the move phase, but luckily there are no psychics in this game, so it doesn't matter. We've always gone, we will follow the rules as written in the magazine, unless something is clearly wrong, in which case we will correct it.
Yeah, if it's wrong and we know it's wrong and it's clearly just an error. If it's something that they've simplified deliberately for the sake of the magazine, we tend to follow the magazine. This is also the first time we've used our new board, although obviously we're using the reverse side of it. The previous board does have a side that matches this one, but we never actually got to use it in the first 20 issues.
So presumably we'll end up fighting games on multiple boards later on. Yeah, we're intended to get the battle map with issue 18, so I don't know whether they'll, since this magazine's going to be coming out in America, whether you'll get it with 18, because that was due to an error, I think, or whether they'll just shift it to 21, because you don't actually use it until now, so...
And we're possibly on a sort of transition in the story as well, because we got the first part of the Adeptus Mechanicus forces in this issue.
Yeah, you get one sprue and nothing else. The other 2 sprues for the Skitarii and all the bases are in the next issue. And I do kind of like that they're going to be doing a variety of Imperial forces. Although I think if you add up the points value for all the Space Marines and all the Necron forces, they're about the same. And the other Imperial factions are just added on. But anyway, we'll probably talk about all of that more as it comes up. Otherwise, I don't think there's too much more to say about this game or this issue. So, as always, if you like this content, do leave a like and subscribe. And leave any comments. If you played this game, see how you got on. If you played the Space Marines and managed to win, let us know. Otherwise, we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.